Hey man, can you believe this is the third in a row today? Again, we rack and stack.
There is nothing like a good old rack and stack, Randy. I love them.
They are they are beautiful, and I made a note something. I think I did a post earlier today. It's one of those hybrid kind of things that I just love. You and the, we're kind of two people in the industry today, which is kind of cool. One of them was our buddy JR is completely out of the industry, but two people in the post frame metal roofing world on today. So that's even super exciting. And then one's coming up, become really good friends of mine, and they're fellow, if I could say that, Floridians, which is kind of like even an extra plus. So
Yeah, yeah, and I gotta tell you, they're looking good, sounding good, and heck, why don't we just get to them?
well, okay, they're sounding pretty good. I don't know. Kent Kent
Hey,
Kent the
I had to put it in there.
Kent the young stud, the son is looking pretty good. The problem is Kent and I are, or Zach, I should say, Kent and I are like older. So, but Kent looks good too. I think Kent still signs the checks, and they are a customer of mine. So I guess I better be nice to him too. So
Well, and
we
I told
tracked
them to
all that.
button up their shirts because it
That's
was a
true.
family show.
Yeah,
So,
exactly. Well, he is. Yeah, that's exactly young studs. Unlike you and I. Let's go get them. I'm
all
done.
right, let's get them.
I got nothing.
Had me either.
Boom. There we are, fellas. How you doing?
Hey, good. How are you?
Great, great. Kent and Zach and Kent, whatever you want to go, man. This is great. We've hung out a few times and known each other for years, and we're finally jumping on a show together. I love it.
Absolutely.
Thanks for having
Yeah.
us.
Absolutely.
Well, absolutely, absolutely. So as we get started, I always love the story because I like stories. But Kent, why don't you start us out with you guys are the Woody's Barns, Woody's Enterprises, or Woody's Barns by Woody's Enterprises, or whatever that 7.5 mile long tagline you have. Um,
Right.
but where did Woody's come from? How did it get started? And I know the answer to this, so I feel like a trial attorney that's asking his guy on the stand the question he already knows. But just for good show, how did Woody's get his name, and where did you guys start from?
Sure. Well, the Woody's name actually comes from my father-in-law and myself started the business. His name is Elwood Long, so he goes by Woody. So Woody's Barns had a better ring to it than Kent's Barns. It just sounded more fitting. So that's where the name came about. But we actually started the business in January of 2007. In my former life, I was uh, pretty much the guy that went out and did all the measuring for custom shower enclosures, shelving, mirrors, that sort of stuff for new construction back during the construction boom leading up to when everything crashed in '07, '08. And anyhow, that's my former life. And we started the business in '07 as an extension of that, doing my own thing with those products. The problem is, getting a lot of quotes out there during that time. Of course, everybody was scrambling and getting a lot of bids, but nobody was really pulling the trigger. So we were floundering pretty good for about a year there with a few hit and miss jobs, just enough to keep the lights on. But after about a year, we were at a point where we had to make a decision. And it just so happened that a gentleman we knew from our former lives back in the '90s when my father-in-law and myself worked for a Sears home improvement contractor. And this gentleman worked in the roofing division, and we would do some jobs back and forth with him and partner up and do packages for Sears customers, home improvements for roofing and siding, windows, coating, that sort of thing. And that gentleman's father started building barns back in Florida back in about 1969, 1970. And our sales rep, off and on through the years, worked with him. And he was looking for a contractor basically to continue on because he was working with somebody that, let's just say, was a little less than savory, I guess, to work with, and wasn't exactly doing the right thing for the clients. So it was serendipity that we just kind of came together at that time. We were looking for an opportunity, as was he, and the rest is, as they say, is history. And it just took off, and we've grown every year since then.
Love it. So before we jump over to Zach for a second, but so I'm clear, did your father-in-law Woody actually work in the building business with you, or did he
Yes.
just lend the? Oh, he did. Okay.
Yes. Yeah. We started the business, like I say, in January of 07.
Okay.
And then I retired him. It's been 5 years this month, actually. That
Okay.
October of 19.
Yeah.
Okay. Beautiful. And I should say you're in Winter Haven. Did I get it?
Incorrect.
Yep, Winter Haven. I thought, okay. I was just there a few weeks ago.
We'd be in St. Cloud, though.
St. Cloud, yeah, but St. Cloud, not Winter Haven. Near there. Yeah, St. Cloud, Florida, which is, I guess, for people that would not know Florida well, is generally, and this is very generally, Orlando-ish, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
like
Central Florida.
35 minutes east of Disney.
Yeah. So you get over there. Have you built a horse barn at Disney? I think you should.
I know.
It's actually been brought up before, but I'm not a big fan of commercial jobs.
Yeah.
I much prefer the residential market.
There you go. So Zach, you obviously son of Kent. How did this go down? How did you decide that I think I'm gonna get involved with selling and designing and building? Because I know. Okay, let's not get crazy here. I've been to job sites with you. You're not really building yourself. You're kind of just designing and overseeing and all the smart stuff, right? But how did you get involved in this?
Oh, he was chomping at the bits for years, just trying to get in with me.
Yeah, I was trying to get into business at that. No, it's a funny story. I was 10 years old when he came downstairs one morning and was like, "So I'm gonna start a business," and I was like, "Okay, wow, that's pretty wild." Okay, I was 10. It sounded cool, whatever. So then obviously the year after that was 2008, and things got more interesting. And then Kevin came around, and then they took off on the barn business, and that went an entirely different direction that nobody really saw it going. Even Kent and I are highly allergic to horses, so I think that's hysterical.
Are you really? Hold on, whoa. Are you serious?
I am. Yeah. He's passed all his allergies to me.
That's funny.
We both can't touch horses and then touch our face without washing our hands. Same with cats and dogs. But yeah, it's just funny because people always, we'll go out there for a service call and we'll start sneezing and we know exactly what's up. But it's not really good to lead with, I'm allergic to horses. I don't own any horses, but hey, let me build you a barn.
Yes.
But we certainly we've honed our craft and learned everything about building these buildings. Just not horse people per se. So I can't put my sense in when it comes to the animals, but for years I kind of just didn't touch anything with a 10-foot pole. I went to college. I was a hospitality major. I actually wanted to be a cruise director, which then I figured out very shortly after graduating college that is not for me. And I actually moved to Alaska right after college and did some whale watching and tour guide stuff up there for a seasonal job. That was really cool. I just wanted to get out of Florida. And then I came back and worked some random jobs at different hotels and stuff. And it just overall, COVID came and I was furloughed. And then there was months where I didn't have a job and was working under the table for one of Kent's buddies who owns a pressure washing business, doing commercial jobs and stuff. So that wasn't really ideal, but it, was keeping me alive. And then I found another job and it was short-lived, like 3 or 4 months into that. I'm just like, God, this really just isn't it. And it so happened that Rick, the former production manager, before I came in, he was in my role for 12 years. So since the beginning of Woody's, he was the production manager. But again, he does the takeoffs, he runs the logistics, he's basically the liaison between the customer and the company. We're not out there swinging the hammer, but just about everything else. Honestly, sometimes I think I'd rather just swing a hammer.
Yeah, I'll bet.
Well, yeah, but I mean, not that what these crews do are easy. I'm glad that they're there and they know their stuff, but it's definitely a lot. But I never saw myself in this position. But Rick leaving, they were kind of floundering for somebody to come in, and my mom actually, who is our bookkeeper, she mentioned it to us. She's like, "Hey, why don't you come and work for your dad?" And I thought she was insane, and I was like, "Well, that'll never work." And I was just crazy enough to give it a shot, and here I am 3.5 years later. So it's been a wild ride.
Love it. Love it. So, you know, the Kent, having your son, was that was that something that you dreamed of at an early age, that he would join you into business? I love the whole concept of father son thing. We've had a few on in the past. We've had some people up in Michigan, Orchard Construction, who are good friends, or they're going to come on. I don't think they've been on yet, actually. But that are the brothers, right, and came and worked with their dad, and then he retired and sold the business to them. And I love the whole concept of father son, brother sister, brother, whatever. How's that been from your end? Is that something that you wanted, or was you just
Yeah, I mean,
welcomed him
sure.
if
I
he
mean,
wanted it?
oh, no, absolutely. I mean, everybody always dreams of the kids
Yes.
following in the footsteps and wanting to be a part of the business, but I never wanted to force the issue. You know,
Hmm.
I don't want it to be something they felt out of obligation. But when my wife brought the idea up to me, I thought, well, I don't think he's going to want to do it because it, you know, just wasn't his path in the past. But
Right.
I was very happy when he did agree to, and he's really, really good at what he does, far better than I ever was in that position, or even of the past. I mean, our former production manager did a phenomenal job, but just from the technology aspect of
Hmm.
things, what Zach brings to the table, in addition to just being hyper organized,
Right.
it makes life a lot easier.
Well, and it takes a lot, right, guys? Because there's we've been together at one of your great facilities just north of Naples not too long ago, maybe back in early June, I think, or mid June,
Mm-hmm.
and it it was I think that's the first job I've been on with you guys, and the attention to detail that it takes on a horse barn compared to maybe just a backyard storage building or a tool shed or whatever is kind of amazing, actually, of what goes into it. And so I know, Zach, from your standpoint, from the production manager standpoint, there's a lot of irons in the fire to make sure that happens and happens on a timely basis and actually make some money, right?
Right. It's just from I mean, basically, my job is having to everybody else have done their job already, and there's so many hands in the pot that it definitely makes my job interesting at times. If one piece of the puzzle is dragging or has not been completed, I cannot move on to the second. We're not a skeleton crew. I mean, in the sense that we have resources here, but it is a very tight knit, family run business. So, I mean, when there's issues, if it's not Ken or I that can fix it, it's one of our shop guys on the road. It's asking our bookkeeper to make a call, or it's, we do what we have to make it possible. But yeah, everything is appearance grade on these barns. So, all the finish work on the stall fronts has to look clean. You can't just, mess that cut up. Oh, we'll cover it up with plywood. It like you said, it's very different than a lot of other construction. I like to call it boutique construction
Mm.
because it's not everybody can do this. When we're looking for a crew, it's not just somebody that knows how to frame. It's somebody that pays attention to detail and those sort of things. Actually, right now, right before we got started, I got a text from Chris down at his second job in Naples, the one that you hadn't seen. He is supposed to be out of there tomorrow. He's short one 13-foot panel. I haven't even talked to him about why that is.
Yeah.
But now that's going to involve Kent or I scrambling to call the metal vendor, get a 13-foot panel made up as soon as possible, and then drive it 3.5 hours down, because
Right.
that's just what we do.
And
Yep.
that's the really tough part, is that we're not just in Central Florida where we live. I mean, we cover 48 counties in Florida, and without having multiple locations and a vast resource of employees and things like that, it makes it very, very challenging at times to logistically get things where they need to be. But we do what we have to do. We put in a lot of long hours some days.
Oh, yes.
You know,
Well,
it's worked.
well, that's what it takes. And like I said, when we was together out, I was the crew that was on the job site were they obviously know what they're doing. You have good people, and I really appreciated and picked up on having grown up in the post frame building world. Been a long time since I've built a building, but I mean a long time. But and Ken, don't bring up how long, because I'm not going to tell you, I'm going to lie. But but it's been a long, long time. But I can tell you I love the way both of you guys interacted with the crew. You were actually didn't just pay a visit to the job site just to be precursory, yeah, looks good to me. You're literally walking around area by area, really looking at what's going on and making sure because it's got, in a sense, your name on it. Woody's your father-in-law, right? It's got your name on it. This
Mm-hmm.
is, and I can tell the personal um, responsibility that you take. It's you're building this for somebody's life, right? And especially in the horse world, more than probably a lot. And I used to build or sell or be involved with a fair amount of horse world in Michigan, north of the Detroit area, is a kind of a big horse area.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing. They may do whatever they do in other parts of their life as far as what they buy for anything, but they want their barn right.
Mm-hmm.
And quality and the attention to details. And I could see that there with you guys. And that brings me back to the design. I love, you guys are very good with your Facebook page, your group, a lot of the social media that you do. And I love seeing the finished product. Those are always fun that you guys do, but I really love every time you come out with the newest. Welcome to the Woody's family, I think you say, or something like along those lines. And you
Mm-hmm.
come out with the newest design, just out of the design, showing the stall layout and sometimes the elevation. I mean, there's some pictures Wes is running through right now on your website. But so you're really truly turnkey from somebody sitting down with your sales guy saying, I want a barn for my
Mm-hmm.
horses. Where do we go from here? All the way to the finished project, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Absolutely.
And I mean, turnkey in the sense of, yes, you can sit down with us, design your barn, but the way we're set up with our business model is we just build the shell because we don't tie electric and plumbing permits to our barns because it just gets held up in permitting for sometimes weeks at a time. And with our crews servicing all areas of the state, we like to move them from job to job. So yes, and on certain, agriculturally exempt projects that don't require certain county permits, they're able to work in with the plumbers and the electricians as well as we're built, rough stuff in, and better plan it so it's not an afterthought. But our barns are designed in a way that it's not hard to snake pipes through underneath the slab and run things up after the fact.
Gotcha. So Kent, you're you spend a little time out in Seattle, Washington. Is it Seattle or Spokane? Seattle.
That's Seattle. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's got to be kind of nice too with the father-son thing, which I like is when you're gone, you're in good hands with Zach there. I'm sure you probably,
even though he goes insane, but yes, he gets it done.
Oh, so Zach, you're going, when are you coming back, Ken?
Yeah. He likes to throw on me last minute. Oh, I think your mom's got us booked on a trip for this. You got to get with her on the dates. And I'm like, okay. So normally I'll just get with her and see what's going to be Hell Week and what's not. But when we actually both took a 2-week vacation this year because when you run a company, you're married to it and you will go crazy if you don't carve out time for yourself. So we decided we enjoy nice things. We deserve nice things. We're going to have something nice. So we took 2 weeks off in the midst of our busiest time of the year. And it was kind of nuts, but we got through it and we had a great time and we had the people here in place. It was rather challenging at times and nothing like fielding calls in Europe, but we got through it.
Yes. Oh, so yeah, that trip to Europe, I followed vicariously through some of your Facebook posts, and it looked like a great time. But you sometimes have to do that because otherwise the business runs you, right? And there's a point in time where you got to remember why you're doing this whole thing. Yeah, exactly. You're doing it because you love business and you love the horse barn world and you love buildings in general. But you're doing it because you want to live a lifestyle that you want to be able to live that affords for you to do, right?
For sure.
Right.
That's awesome. So the your location, Kent, tell me a little bit about how you ended up in where you ended up in Florida, because I know that's not where you're from originally.
Right.
So give us that track, because that's always interesting. Because as you know, I technically live in Florida. I still go back. We didn't this year, but into Michigan for a while in the summer. But that's most of my area outside of Florida for a couple of my products that you and I you two and I deal with together. Most of my world is in the Northeast and the Great Lakes states, but is there's probably only of the 22, 25, whatever million people live in Florida, there's probably only 12 people that are actually Florida residents, right? I mean, everybody
One of them
came
happens to be my wife.
here.
She was born in Orlando, so
So there's 11 others besides
yeah,
your wife.
exactly.
Yeah.
She's one of the
So
12.
yep.
Yeah.
So tell us how you ended up in Florida.
Well, I was originally from Ohio. My father was a truck driver for about 55 years, and at the time he worked for a trucking company that transferred him to Michigan. We moved to a little town called Blissfield, Michigan, just outside of Toledo, Ohio, near the border there. And
Get that Go Bucks off of there, Wes.
yeah,
Unbelievable. I know Blissfield. I grew up, or not grew up. I haven't grown up yet, but I'm going to someday maybe. But I lived 16 years in Ann Arbor, so yeah, you just not far. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah,
Anyways, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we lived there a whopping 10 months. I mean, my dad, even in the Ohio weather, driving semi wasn't nearly as bad as moving near the Great Lakes for 10 months during the winter. And he said, the heck with this, and cashed in his chips, and we moved to St. Cloud, where his mom and dad had moved there back in 1959, and his brother had moved there in 70, and then we followed down in 76. We moved here in June of 76.
Okay.
So grew up here, great little town, wonderful place to grow up. It's changed a lot, obviously, like a lot of places in Florida here, but way overbuilt and way underdeveloped as far as infrastructure. So it makes it challenging, but at least we can control the times that we leave the shop with our truck and trailers. So we try to either get out before or after the rush, because otherwise it's maddening.
To get him out of here for a very long time, and his answer is always the same, that we're in the best place for our business to be run. And I wish I could refute that, but we are 2 hours from the West Coast. We're an hour from the East Coast. It takes me 2.5 hours to get to the Georgia line, and it takes me about 3.5 hours to go to Naples, which is the furthest southwest we service. And we'll go down to Loxahatchee, Wellington, Lake Worth area, but we don't really dip into Broward or Dade County because it's basically the same barns in every other county that require 3 inspections, require 27 inspections down there. And that's just not really how we roll.
Well, that takes a lot of the fun out of it. Right?
Exactly. It makes the logistics a nightmare.
It's not quite as bad, but it's like every nail and every third screw you put in the metal, you got to get it inspected again, right? It's like,
100%.
can we ever like get this thing finished? But well, you know, but the area you're in, like, you know, the whole Ocala, Wellington, the area you're in, that's a lot of people don't recognize how big a horse industry there is in the state of Florida.
I did it before I started working.
Yeah,
I was dumbfounded. There's a lot of people with a lot of horses and a lot of money and a lot of places that need new barns because most of our clientele, what we hear is, oh, well, I have to knock down my old barn to make way for this new one. So I don't know if it's just outdated, people buying new property, because there's been a huge influx of people, I feel like, in the last 4 to 5 years that have moved to Florida. And a lot of people out of state, New York, a lot of times, I mean, that's one of like my first conversation starters on delivery day, talking about the property. When did you guys move here? It's such a beautiful property. And I get their whole backstory. And, oh yeah, I just bought this 5 months ago and this barn came with it, but we want to demo it and we wanted a new one. I get a lot of people that they build the barn and then find the horses later too. So there's definitely a market for it, whether the people need them to be boarded. And I'm under a time crunch of, I have 16 horses showing up in December and these are all show horses and I have nothing for them. Can you have it done by then? Sure. Yeah. That's currently what I'm going through down in Wellington. And so if it's not that, it's, oh, so how many horses do you guys have? And it's like a beautiful 6-stall, you know, center aisle building. Oh, none. My wife's thinking about a couple, but we figured we could board out some of the stalls and make some money on it. So there's always use for them.
Yes. Well, they're just cool. I mean, let's face it, there's nothing like a cool looking horse barn with, the Dutch doors and the stalls and the bale doors and the cupolas. They're just a cool looking building. Years ago, many years ago, when I was still living full time in Michigan, we looked at some property, but at the end of the day, it wouldn't perk. So it was way back. And we'd had to build, we'd had as much into a driveway and over little creeks and stuff as we would the whole property, I think. But I wanted to I had this idea. I was going to build a horse barn down near I could drive by it every day, but I was going to have llamas in it instead of horses, only because there was this, I don't know, I must have hit my head at one time or another, but and still concussed because for whatever reason, I dreamed every day of driving in the driveway and getting out, and all the llamas would come hopping over to the fence, and I could rub their little heads and then head on into the house. And goofy dream, but never did it. Luckily, probably that it didn't perk because I'd probably still be there chasing llamas around.
Well, they're spitting on you.
Oh, they're spitting on you, yeah. But yeah, no idea why I thought llamas were cool. Probably wouldn't have after I had them, so probably just as well. But no, it's the horse areas up there is really, really good, and I was surprised that you do as many horse barns down in the Naples area that you do. Because I know we sent Wes a picture. I don't know if he's got it or not, if it came through, but us together at one of your barns. Oh, there we are. Look at that. Man, we look good.
I like those doors. They make me look small.
Well, they are 68 foot tall, just for reference. But,
yeah. Those doors are like 11'6" or 12 feet. Those are very custom.
Yeah, I was going to say, because, we talked about that because whether they're going to pull a camper in there or what they're going to do, because they were a lot taller than you would typically put on an alley of a stall barn. But I was surprised by when you think of the West Coast, the Gulf Coast, which is what I'm familiar with, horse barn area is not what comes to mind here. And it was interesting to see beautiful spot back in there where this building was, and now you're building the second or third one in the Naples area, right? You've probably got more than that, but it just surprised me because I think of Florida. When I think of horse barn in Florida, like I said, Wellington, Ocala, I'm up in that general part of the world. But and it's funny. The last time I came up to see you guys, I love to go over. Instead of going up I-75 to 4 and over, which is 8 million people on the highway, and it's a highway. I love going over and going up through the center of the state.
Absolutely.
And it's really was surprising to me the amount of horse barns or horse farms and the amount of ranches. The Texas Longhorns, which I figured it probably should be called Florida Longhorns because they're in Florida, but that's just me. But I didn't realize, it's like orange plantations and then this massive cattle farm. And it's again not what my vision before moving and living in Florida for the last 10 years, most of the time was, because my whole life had always spent either at Disney or on one of the two coasts, right? I mean, I was either on the Atlantic coast or the Gulf Coast. And so in my mind, that's what Florida was. And there's a whole another part of Florida that's great because it's fun to see that. It's really outside of the vegetation and it's always warm. The middle of Florida could have been almost any other state in the country, right? I mean, it's very agriculture in the center part of the state.
Absolutely. Very much so.
Yeah.
So
people. Sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead, Zach, please.
I was just going to say that a lot of people think that it's, Florida's the main cities, Jacksonville, Miami, Tampa, and it's so not. Driving up and down the state, it's brought me places and roads I never thought I'd take, and I get lost all the time in a good way, and I'm like, wow, and it gives me ideas for weekend trips and things like that. But so much of the center of the state, I say it's a whole lot of nothing, but it's a lot. It's the backbone of a lot of things, agriculture and the cattle and everything. So it's neat to see. You don't think there's a whole lot going on, but it is a very important part. And I think that the governor recently signed something doing a bunch of conservation in that area of the state to prevent the developments that Kent was kind of talking about that came for our home county,
Yeah.
and basically sold off large chunks
Uh,
of it. So it's nice to see that not encroaching down there and kind of keeping that old Florida feel.
Yeah, there's
Exactly.
probably about, I don't know, 3 or 4, 5 rancher families around here that pretty much sold out all of Osceola County. I mean, just
And they go back
thousands of acres.
generations.
Yeah.
Really.
And man, there's just subdivision after subdivision after apartment complex, and they've done literally almost nothing to improve the roads to
Right.
handle that.
Meanwhile, they cashed out and left. the
Yeah,
state.
they all moved
Right.
to Texas.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. I think I was telling you guys when we was at lunch a few weeks ago that I'm 6 miles off of I-75 where it becomes technically Alligator Alley, exit 101,
Yep.
and where it heads straight across to Miami. And
Yep.
in that 6 miles, there's at least right. I mean, I'm talking just on 951. There's 5 new, either mostly, housing developments. There's one, some sort of a semblance of a multifamily. I think it's a little hard. I think partial multifamily, but all I'm saying is that's 6 miles. And that's just on 951. That's not getting off on any of the, the side streets. It's
Mhm.
it's everywhere you go. It's I don't know, I think we might tip over into the water like that one congressman thought Guam was going to do one time. But I think that'll probably be okay. But anyway, so as we kind of wrap up, because I know you got lots to do and I appreciate the time, tell us what to expect if you a potential customer and you call Woody's. Here's your opportunity. Here's your advertisement. Here's your infomercial. What is the Woody's experience? What's a customer going to see from Woody's Barns versus Billy Bob's Barns, right? I mean, what's going to be that experience that they have with you guys?
I mean, honestly, with us, I mean, like Zach mentioned earlier, we're kind of a boutique experience, if you will. Certainly not the largest building company out there, but we do a pretty good amount of business. I mean, we probably build about 40, 50 barns a year on average. And, from very basic shed row style barns to very, very complex barns. But with us, it's very much a very detail oriented. And again, because we're not a large corporation, we actually care because our biggest thing is word of mouth. I mean, that's where we're getting our business for the most part, is the referrals, the repeat business, and some of it through our marketing efforts. But we have done several customers' barns where they built multiple barns with us on different properties through the years. So for us, it's really kind of a relationship type business. That's we still have that small town feel kind of thing to it, small business, operating, but able to do it. I would say we're kind of a large small business, if that makes any sense. But
right.
Our vendors love us because we do a pretty good amount of business with them for lumber and metal and all that. But,
and we're loyal.
Yeah.
And we pay our bills, which nowadays is always
that's
a good thing, right?
Yeah, pretty important.
It's just I want to be able to go back to my customer, and have them be ecstatic about what they've done. It's not about what the top dollar is you can get out of this. It's getting them what they want, and and trying to basically under promise but way over deliver on everything.
Well, from everything I've seen, you guys do that in spades, as they say. Zach, any final words on that as the young gun here?
No, just I think Kent hit it right on the head. Just basically a personal touch. People know that they can reach out to me. I might not like it, but I'm going to respond against what Kent and Michelle tell me not to. When I get the text at 7 or 8 o'clock at night, or the 10 p.m. frantic voicemail, or the weekend call, I'm not happy about it, but I can't help myself. I have to respond to it. And people get that sense that, I'm going to help support them in any way I can, especially if they're easy to work with. If they're, a little bit more difficult to work with, that can definitely sway. But yeah, I mean, I really just, we care, and you're not just another number. I have 5 barns working at any given time, which is the most we've ever had at one time because we have 5 crews. Before we were only operating with 3. So this year has definitely been a lot of growing pains, and just trying to stay on top of the 5 that we're currently building, the 5 coming up in the queue, and then the 5 that we just finished that, they may have questions on or things to go back and look at. whatever it may be. But I mean, that's still a lot on one person's plate, but you know, you're not just another number, and we will always do what we need to do to make it right, to make sure, because I don't, my biggest thing is people say, oh, the barn's so great, you know, but if this one little thing, you know, and they want to make it sound like it's not a big deal. And I always tell them, I don't want to build you a great product and then, you know, have that but. Oh, well, but this one thing, you know, I'm going to go out of my way to fix that small little thing that is very annoying to fix, but I do it because I have to have it leave on a good note. It can't be a sour ending.
Yeah. Well, and what that does, one of my favorite books ever, I think it's in Michigan, because I read it every once in a while. Once a year, I try to read. Ken Blanchard wrote a book called Raving Fans. Mm-hmm. And if you haven't read it, it's well worth reading.
Very good book.
It's satisfied customers will still leave. Raving fans is what you want, right? You want the raving fans to just go, if I need another building, it's going to be Woody's. If I'm going to go out of my way to tell everybody, I bought my barn from Woody's, and you need to buy your barn from Woody's. They need to be the best salesman you have, right? Because they should be, right? Absolutely. But satisfied is, yeah, it's fine. They did a good job. You know, we're happy. That's not what you're looking for, right? You're looking for that fan that somebody calls them if you give them a referral, and they won't stop talking about their experience and how happy they are. And like you said, Zach, and that's the key. One of the big keys, I think, is we had this one little issue to Zach. It wasn't that big a deal, but we just didn't love it. But we could have lived with it. And Zach said, no way, not going to happen. We're going to make it right for you. See, that's how you build that long-term relationships, the raving fans, the referrals, right? Is doing those attention to details, because there's a lot of people out there in any business that would take that as a quick out. If you're sure you're okay, that's fine. Thank you for, you know, but if you're fine, I'm okay. I like that attitude of, no, it's not fine. If you brought it up and you're not happy with it, we're going to make it right. And that's another book. And Wes, we met earlier, my producer, director, buddy, pal, friend. I always have to say food stealer because he is. But anyway, he posted today about 212 degrees. If you know, you know, right? And it's another great book. I forget who wrote that. I should remember, but it's all about water at 211 degrees is incredibly awful hot, right? But that's all it is hot water. 212 degrees, it's steam, and you can move locomotives, you can move ships, you can move whatever. So it's that 1 degree, right, that makes all the difference. And I feel like in business, we don't want to lose sight of that. That's what that whole book's about, right? We don't want to lose sight of the fact is most everybody will handle the big things because they're right there in front of you. You're not going to miss the big things. It's those 4 and 5 and 6 and 7 little things that make the difference between a very big raving fan versus just a satisfied fan. And so with that, you guys do that, as I said, you do it so well, and that's one of the things I've always appreciated about what you guys do. So well done.
Certainly, thank you. The devil's in the details, and it definitely shows. And like Kent said, that's our biggest advertisement is word of mouth. So if you have raving fans, they're gonna obviously rave for you. So
exactly, yep. So beautiful. So every once in a while, I didn't prep you for this, and I should have. So we're going to see how good one of y'all is. We usually at the end of these try to do instead of an FAQ, we do an SAQ. Should ask questions. Either one of you, if you want, or both. What did we miss today that you would have wished Randy would have asked, or what do you wish people just in general, whether it be prospective customers, somebody at the local, taco place having a taco in a Modelo or something, wish they'd ask you about the business or personally. What do you wish somebody just asked you? Kent, what do you wish somebody'd ask you?
Wow.
Yeah, I know, he sprung that one.
Wow.
Ask him how he's feeling today.
Yeah. Am I okay?
Nobody ever asks how the project manager is. Everybody always asks how the project's going.
Yeah, how's the project? Yeah, that's so. I'll ask this. Because I know I did throw this one on. Usually I tell people I'm going to, but we didn't today. Right. That was a trick. And you failed, so now we'll have to have you back someday just so we get this better. But what is, let me see here, Zach, if you weren't working with your dad here, working with Kent and Woody's, and we already established you didn't like you liked whale watching, but being the cruise director probably wasn't going to be it. What would Zach's next perfect thing be?
Good God, you're asking life's existential questions.
That's what I'm good at.
Yeah, I don't know. I ask myself that often because is this my undying dream? Not yet. It's not something I sought out to do. I kind of fell into it, and it's been
Same.
a cool, wild ride. Right. And I mean, if I wasn't doing this, I'm big into traveling, so it would involve some sort of travel. I just haven't exactly figured out how to travel and get paid well for it.
Ah, there you go. Exactly. You want to tackle that one, Kent? Or do you want me to shut up and get out of here so you don't have to?
No, I mean, like for me, man, I would it would be something probably with old cars,
Mhm.
probably buying them, selling them, going to auction with them, that kind of thing, traveling with them.
Yep.
That's I don't know. That's the dream someday, but right now I just dabble with it.
Yeah, well, you do love your old cars. I think that's a cool thing. Well, it's the important thing is, and I end every podcast with, and since I'll say it now, I may not say it later, and I might, who knows? But it's important to love what you do and do what you love, right? And that's if I'll answer the question too, since we're just about ready to get done here. I don't know that nobody ever grows up saying, I want to be a barn door track, Dutch door selling, cupola selling, screws and closure vent materials selling, and whatever else. That's what I'm going to do when I get older. We all want to be, I'm going to be a soldier, a cop, or a fireman if you're a guy, right? No, but I've thought about a lot, and I think it's important to love what you do and do what you love. That's why I'm bringing this up. Is maybe it's by osmosis because I've been doing it so long that I can't figure out what else I could do. But if I think about it every day, I feel incredibly blessed because I really, really love what I do. And not only in the rep agency part of my world, but this kind of thing, bringing people in front of a new audience and bringing an audience to you. I enjoy all that. So my point of all that is, man, it's just fun to do what you love and to get up every day. And so what it does is even on days that suck, and some days do, it's easy to take that back to 20 minutes, 20 hours or 20 days or 20 weeks, which is a lot of people do, right? So,
I mean, for me, honestly, I mean, since I was 23 years old and I'm 56 now, I've always been in sales, mostly in home improvement stuff. So even though I'm currently not the sales rep, so to speak, I'm more operations and running the company, but I still get involved with selling some stuff here and there in between. But for me, I've always just truly enjoyed meeting people. I love going different places, meeting new people. I can't get enough of it. I'm very much extroverted. So for me, I don't know that it really matters what the venue is per se, as long as I'm out there doing something different all the time,
doing something with people, helping people. Good stuff. Kent, Zach, I appreciate you more than you know, and I appreciate you jumping on today and chatting, and it's been a good time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much for having us.
Yeah,
well, of course. Thank you. Keep building those barns. I'll wait for the next one to come out of design. I can't wait. Is it up today? I'm ready. I want to see the next one.
We should be wrapping up another one in Naples here this week, so we
all right,
and go see it.
Love it. I'd love it. Next time you come down, if I'm here, I'll come down. As long as we go to that same Mexican place again. That was
perfect. Sounds
good to me.
That was good. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Appreciate you.
Absolutely.
Thanks,
you bet. Cheers.
Cheers.
All right. Kent and Zach from Woody's Buildings up in beautiful north part of Florida. I guess north central, but kind of north. Everything's north of me. But anyways, love these guys. Love the passion and the love they bring to what they do. And if you're in Southern Florida, Northern Florida, Middle Florida, any part of Florida, need a horse barn. They're the guys. They do a great job, and I can personally vouch for the great job they do. So give them a holler. Great conversation. Love the father-son thing. Good stuff. I worked for my dad for a number of years when I was younger, a long time ago now. But well, it's good stuff. So that's it for today. I said it before. I'm going to say it again because I like to say I love what you do and do what you love, because that's what I just got done doing all day today. I had one of those hybrid rack and stack days, and talking to good people is always fun. And remember, you only get one go around on planet Earth, as we are. Who knows what the other ending is? We all have our beliefs, but live it, love it, own it, and go make today your best day ever. Till tomorrow. Cheers.